Alright class, so today we're going to be going over more of our CO.4 notes. The first thing that we're going to be doing, I want to review the transformation rules that are going to be on the rules quiz. If you want to go ahead and pause the video and make sure that you have all these rules, the rules quiz is really just memorizing, do you have these rules memorized? So I want to make sure that you can pause the video, make sure that all of these are written down, and then we will move on. All right. So the very first thing that I want to do is to review actually let's do the first thing. Let's go ahead and look at some of our transformations on graph paper. So I want to reflect the given figure across the line y equals 1, and then I want to transform it by a translation rule where x has 2 added and y has 3 subtracted. So the very first thing that I'm going to do is reflect this over the line y equals 1. So as I'm doing these, I have a lot of good colors that are very distinct from each other that I can grab and use to kind of help me make sure that each part is sticking out. So here they want me to reflect across the line y equals 1. Well, the first thing that I'm going to do is locate the y-axis, which is the one that goes up and down. Then I want to locate the number 1 on the y-axis, which is right there. And then I'm going to draw a line straight through where the y value is 1. This line right here is the line y equals 1. Now I'm going to go ahead and transform this figure by reflecting it over the orange line. Now here's why I wanted a bunch of different colors, because sometimes when we're doing these reflections over lines that are not the axes, our eyes tend to focus on the line at first, and then all of a sudden we're counting from the y-axis below it instead. So I kind of colored that in pretty thick just so that I can make sure that I'm focusing on the right part. So I'm going to go ahead and do this reflection in orange. So I am going to count from W to the line of reflection is just 1 unit. So I'm going to do 1 unit on the other side. That will be my W prime. V is again 1 unit to the line of reflection. So 1 unit on the other side is going to be my V prime. U is 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3 on the other side will be my U prime. And 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 gives me T prime. Now I want to make sure that when I am doing my reflection, I should get the same exact image out as what I put in. So this original shape and size that I had is what I have down here. It's just flipped over. Now let me grab a different color. I'll do green this time. And I want to take each of these points that I have here, and I want to move the x value to the right 2 and the y value down 3. So I can do this by counting. For each one of these, I'm going to go 1, 2 to the right, and 1, 2, 3 down. That will be my new W double prime. V, 2 to the right, and 1, 2, 3 down will be my V double prime because it's the second time I've moved this shape. So I moved it once to the orange and then from the orange to the green in that sequence. So I get a double prime now. T, 2 to the right and 3 down will be right here. That's my T double prime. And 2 to the right, 1, 2, 3 down will be my U double prime. Make sure we're using our straight edge. To outline our shape, and that's all there is to doing more than one transformation at a time. Let's go ahead and look at some rotations. Now, if I'm going to be completing a rotation from 90 degrees about the origin, I can look at my transformation rules on the first page. A rotation of 90 degrees about the origin will give me xy maps to negative xy. So xy maps to, negative y x. I may have said that wrong the first time. xy negative yx. So I'm going to go ahead and write down each one of these values. So my h, my j, and my k. The original value of my h is 0, 5. The j is at 4, 6. And the k is at 3, 3. So I'm going to take my original point and map it to its location here at negative yx. I'm going to do that by flipping my x and my y. And then what had been my y value is going to become negative. I'm going to do that again for my j. I'm going to switch the numbers first. And what had been my y is going to get a negative sign. And that's what it looks like for k. Now when I graph this, I'm just going to take those values that I just got here, and I'm going to graph a negative 5, 0, a negative 6, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this one was my h prime, this one is my j prime, and then a negative 3, positive 3 will be my k prime. Okay, so if I look at my figures, I ended up rotating each point 90 degrees. You don't have to do this part on your paper. I just want to show you that each point was rotated 90 degrees. If I look at my K here, if I draw a line from the origin to K, and from the origin to K prime, I see that I get a 90-degree angle there. That means that around this origin that I was drawing my segments to, I have rotated K 90 degrees. And I can do the same thing for my other 2 points. If I connect J and J prime, I will get a 90-degree angle. And if I connect H and H prime,
You don't have any trash, don't you?
I'm sorry, I'm recording right now.
Oh.
If I connect H and H prime, I will also get a 90-degree angle. That one's really easy to draw. Right there as a 90-degree angle. I won't do my 2 J's just because that might make my picture more confusing than it needs to be. But that 90-degree turn in the counterclockwise direction is what I need, what I was asked to complete. I know it's counterclockwise because it's counterclockwise always if they don't tell me. So the next thing that I want to do is complete number 11. In order to do that, let's go ahead and review what we did in class the other day. So I have here, we are rotating around E 80 degrees. So we ended up drawing a segment, or a ray rather, from E through A. We measured 80 degrees. Okay, so I end up with an angle that's just under a 90-degree angle. We took our compass, and we rotated, oops. We rotated around so that our point A rotates 80 degrees around E and becomes A prime. We want it to be following along this circle so that we don't change its location or its distance from E. We just want to change where exactly it is along this circle. So we are changing the rotation. It's rotation this way. Again, we are going counterclockwise. It doesn't tell us which direction to go, so it's always counterclockwise if we are not told. And we rotated A to get to A prime 80 degrees so that this distance here and this distance here are going to be the same measure. That circle ensured that those measurements didn't change. So let's go ahead and try that. Same process. Draw a ray, measure an angle, and then draw a arc with our compass. So the very first step I'm going to want to do for each one of these points is draw a ray Then I want to measure my angle. Then I want to construct an arc that will get me around to my angle. And then I want to label my point last. So let's go ahead and start, and this is where I have so many colors for, so that I can do each one of these points in a different color. It just kind of helps keep me organized. So the first thing I'm going to do is draw a ray from my center of rotation, which they told me up here my center of rotation is A. I'm going to draw my segment or my ray from my center of rotation through any one of my points. It doesn't matter which one you start with, just go ahead and pick one. I chose D to go first. I'm going to measure my 80, nope, sorry, this time it's a 100-degree angle. And then, so I drew my ray, I measured my angle, now I'm going to construct my arc. So I want to measure the distance between A and D. And I want to make sure that that measurement stays the same. I do need to see your arc on your paper. So here will be my D prime. Now I'm going to switch colors. And let's do C next. I'm going to draw my ray from my center through one of my points. Then I'm going to measure my angle. Now I'm putting the center on A. The hole in the protractor should be on the center of rotation. Measure out 100 degrees. And then use my straight edge to draw a pretty long ray. You want that to be long enough so that when you do your arc, you're going to catch your ray. Now I'm going to grab my compass. I'm going to measure the distance between A and C. Make it just dark enough for me to see. And then now that I've drawn my ray, measured my angle, I've constructed my arc, now I can go ahead and label my point. This will be my C prime. One last step. I am going to take and draw my last ray. Measure my angle one last time. Again, making sure that that this ray is long enough that when you use your compass, you're going to hit it. I think I got it long enough. Ooh, close. That was good. Okay. And then the intersection there is now going to be my B prime. And if I connect those points, I now get a triangle that is the same shape and size as my original, but rotated 100 degrees. And again, they didn't tell me which direction to go, so I went counterclockwise with my rotation.